Okay, let me get everything going. It's playing. Just gonna check that it's streaming. Looks like we're good. Okay, so today I'm gonna go over TCP/IP, Bluetooth, Bluesnarfing, and maybe a password generator. So I think I'll start with Bluesnarfing. This is an article that I started writing. I have not finished. I really just wanted to get it like very accurate, but I might I might just publish it sooner than later. Like I was taking notes on it about what like specific things I needed to know and this and that. But I don't know. It's not super important. I mean, it's a blog, right? It would be my first blog post. I think that's why I was overthinking it. But what is bluesnarfing? So bluesnarfing is a deprecated technique for hacking Bluetooth, and it uses, from what studies of it, and it was pretty extensive. I mean, like nothing like super major, but definitely, I did a deep dive on a low level as much as I could lab test it and just figure things out. Um, and based on what I found, it seems like it only affects LMP. I'm literally reading this off of what I wrote because I did this research like about a year ago. I know it's been a while, and so it's link manager protocol, and I went ahead and let me see if I have them here. I think yeah, I signed up and I downloaded this guide on Bluetooth to try to learn about it. I think this is a newer version because there's all these different kinds of versions of protocols that are being used. And okay, yeah, so this goes over the revision history, the 1.0.0, May 2013. That's when Bluetooth from Signal came out. Bluetooth has been around for longer than that, but SIG, I think it stands for Signal, is the company. And let's see, Bluetooth history, and hopefully, because I was looking on Wikipedia too to find some information. I even tried to speak with some people about bluesnarfing. Okay, so it was introduced 24 years ago in 1988. Is that 24 years ago? It sounds right. Yeah, because I'm 32, and that's 6 years. Okay, 8 years. But yeah, so it's I mean, you probably know Bluetooth is wireless. It's not Wi-Fi. It's not wireless fidelity. 802.11, I believe that's what IEEE calls Wi-Fi. It is 802.15.1 apparently. But they don't maintain it anymore. Yeah, so Bluetooth SIG is this company. I think maybe it's just called SIG. Let's look at that, Bluetooth SIG. Okay, yeah. So it's a special interest group called Bluetooth SIG, and they are the ones in charge, and that's where I got this lovely manual on Bluetooth. And that's when they first introduced it, according to their documentation. The latest one, as of when I downloaded it, was 5.1.3, dropped on December 21st, 2020. Martin Woolley, I guess, authored that. So, let's see. It seems like Martin Woolley did a lot of these. So yeah, he I'm guessing was like the head developer for these projects. And this is just, if I'm remembering correctly, this is just the Bluetooth version. This isn't the link. This isn't the LMP, the link manager protocol. And at some point, I probably will do a deeper dive on Bluetooth it's a lot. You know, I was learning so many different things that I just didn't know. Like this newer thing that they came out with called LE. For them, it's low energy. I think that's actually just what it means for everybody. It uses less energy. The protocol, it's more efficient. Yada yada yada. Okay, so then this also goes over a more recent part of the history we just saw. I know I was going to talk about Bluesnarfing, and I will. They're connected, obviously. Now, where is this? So legacy. Yeah, this was like a whole little developer study guide that I was able to download, and I haven't really gone into. As you can see, I don't have a whole lot of information off the top of my dome or anything like that. But so what I did is I read through. I'm probably just gonna mostly read this article, and I do want to publish it at some point. I'm gonna look at the notes that I made myself, like verify versions that are vulnerable, and it used to highlight. This is the problem with Medium. I don't know if like I'm doing something wrong, but like the notes are supposed to highlight. They would start out highlighting the stuff, and now it's like fuck, I don't know what this is referencing. Verify versions that are vulnerable. I'm assuming it was highlighting LMP because that's the only versioning I'm seeing up here. But it could also say this down here because okay, yes, and then I'm talking about LMP 2.1 here. But yeah, we'll get into more of it. So what I have some old iPads, iPods, and iPhones, and I was just trying to see if they had the older version. They actually, even though they had the older version, in some of my reading, I found out that the way that they configured it with OBEX was good enough that it just didn't have that vulnerability. And the vulnerability, from what I understand, is it's kind of like TFP, trivial file transfer, TFTP, fuck me, TFTP, yeah, trivial file transfer protocol. But it's not the same. It's like that. It's like this. It can be set up passwordless, and I don't know if it's encrypted or not. I'm pretty sure it's not, which isn't as important. But so it just makes it made it vulnerable at the time when it came out. This wasn't something people thought about. People didn't really know how to develop using OBEX. I might be butchering this. Again, this was a while, but high level, bluesnarfing was a way to send and receive data from a phone or any endpoint that had Bluetooth on it that was of this version and not set up properly for security reasons. Originally, the vulnerability was found because there was a protocol for sharing business cards. I think that was the original intent. Let me see if I can find that here. Business cards. No, I didn't put that in here. Hopefully it's in my references, which, okay. I have my sources on a different sheet because I haven't published this yet. So, where did I put my sources? It's in here somewhere. It's under blogs. Blog ideas, bluesnarfing. Okay, yeah. So I have all these references here, which you can't see because I'm using OneNote on this other computer. I can find business card. Yeah, okay, so the first attack was done with these things called V cards, and it was using OBEX get command to retrieve known files, like the contacts and calendars, which were, I guess, in telecom directory. So I don't know, like if it was like root telecom. I did not put that in the notes. Maybe that's just how it works on Android phones. And then also calendar information. Same directory, telecom. Telecom/cal.bs, and the other one was telecom pb VCF file VCF other directory. Yeah, and you can see it's even pulling up this article about OpenOBX, FTP, file transfer protocol services, and so the vulnerability for bluesnarfing was essentially that, but it evolved into other things like bluesnarf++ and just other Bluetooth hacking methods. One of which I don't think I have in here yet. Let's see, traversal. Okay, so yeah, then this is the file directory traversal. I think they just called it file traversal, but I mean it's basically a directory traversal where you just go, okay, yeah, no, it is called that. This is some article by Springer.com, and yeah, by Alberto Moreno and Eiji Okamoto, and they go into this bluesnarf++ with the directory traversal, and I think I have this in here because I was trying to follow along with them a little bit. Obviously, I made up a MAC address. That's not a real MAC address. You can't get S or R or M or Y. But yeah, just being cute here, and I don't want to give away my MAC address. But I think this was an actual. Yeah, so this was me trying to mess around and make this work in my lab, and it did not work. Probably because I'm either wrong about LMP version 2.1, or because it is an Apple device. I do have some older non-Apple devices that I might try to mess around with this at some point. And I would do this scan right now, but I don't want to. I don't want to reveal any Bluetooth devices I have. I shouldn't have anything connected, and you should not either. It's good to keep your Bluetooth off. Just check see if anyone's viewing, chatting. Nope, just one viewer and Casper. Anyways, but yeah, so at some point I will do a formal video about this. I've been writing more notes on different video ideas I have, and if you have any suggestions, definitely feel free to just pop it in the chat if you're here live with me, or just in the comments. Yeah. But yeah, one of them is going to be that. I'm trying not to just go on and on and on here. I am going to do another one about, let me see, where did I put, okay, video ideas. Yeah. So I have a password generator that is kind of fun, and I should have transferred the file over here. Maybe I'll do that while we're talking. But yeah, so it basically just creates a password of length n, and I might go into that. I'm going to definitely make a video on that. I'm going to make one on password management. I've made a couple already. I'm going to make one with keychain on your phone. If you have Apple, it's called Passwords, I think, but it's essentially the same thing as keychain on your Mac. Keychain Access, which is a great password manager. It's free, comes with Macs. I don't know if Windows has one. If it does, that's great. I'll find out when I spin up a Windows device, which actually, while we're talking, why don't we just do that? So we're just going to make Win10 test box here. We're going to give it 4 gigs of RAM. Let me make sure that I have space on here for this. Okay, we're fine. Yeah, I'm going to make the disk image instead of the hard disk. Honestly, I don't know too much about the difference between these or this third option, and maybe I'll dive into that at some point. Not today. We're just going to spin this up. And yeah, so I'm going to open it up here. And I'm going to select the the image. So I just downloaded this from the official. It's like you can find the ISO from their official website. Obviously, you don't want to just do it from some random third party. Get it from Microsoft. And if you have, I mean, you can do this on a Windows 2 with VirtualBox, but I would just use Hyper-V. It's their hypervisor. VirtualBox is a free hypervisor that you can download onto Mac or Linux. I'm pretty sure, yeah, and also Windows. Go to their official website. Okay, get out of here. But yeah, so it's cool. You can go ahead and. Anyways, and you can create a VM, and that's what I'm doing right here. So, well, that's spinning up. Let's keep going. But yeah, so I'm gonna make a couple other videos at some point going into all this stuff, and feel free to reach out and ask me questions or whatever. You know, correct me too. That's totally fine. But yeah, so we got this Windows 10 spinning up on, and so I'm just gonna say I don't have a product key. That's totally fine. Just skip around this part. I'm gonna go with Pro for workstations, just because I like that version. And it's going to, yep, accept. Let's say I could do it with the spacebar instead and press enter. Let's do this more with the keyboard, not with the mouse. And it's going to start doing its thing. I'll leave that running. So back to the Bluetooth part. Yeah, so this is, you know, if you ever use command prompt, this is what you get dropped into. You know, it'll tell you, well, it'll tell you the user at, it doesn't, you know, you can change the way it looks. That's the way I have it set up on my lab, which I think is still up. Okay, actually I don't think I have the shortcut to it, the SSH shortcut on here, but you know, so the user at the lab, and then this is this tool, the HCI tool, and this is the option scan. So you go ahead and scan it, and it scans and finds all the MAC addresses that it can see in the area that have Bluetooth, obviously. And then you can go ahead and do certain things like get info on it. So certain versions you can do that on, certain versions you can't. It'll lock you out even if you use sudo. It's because the device itself is blocking you from getting that information, which makes sense. But yeah, so I was able to determine that it was Apple, and the name of the device, which you see here anyways, and the version of LMP that it has, and so that would basically tell you what you need to know to get the vulnerability. But as you can see, I tried doing different things. I installed Obex FTP, and I tried doing this attack that they suggest in their article. And this is to get to the root directory right here. I forgot what this flag and this flag means, but that just says, you know, you're going to get into the root directory. And as you can see, I tried to do the browse. Oh, I think that's what that means. Wow, that was definitely not intentional. Tried to do the browsing, and connection failed. It just didn't work. And I think that's because it's Apple. So I will go ahead and try this again with my old Android stuff. Hopefully it is on the older version of LMP, and I think also the older version of Bluetooth. Now, I still couldn't find really like a solid answer on this. I'm pretty sure, and I wrote this in this article somewhere, or at least in my notes, I'm pretty sure that okay, so you can upgrade OS versions, right? To a certain extent on a piece of hardware. You can go, like this hardware that I have here, it's done upgrading. It's not going to get any higher than what it's at right now. That's just how it works, the way that it's developed. The hardware cannot handle a higher operating system than High Sierra. I think I tried it. It's supposed to technically be able to support it, but it doesn't. It goes through this weird boot loop, if I'm remembering correctly. And I had to go ahead and revert back to High Sierra. Speaking of that, another project I've been trying to do is get the install file for High Sierra. But by creating it from this, and older versions, because I think it would be cool to put some in VMs if I can, if they even can work in VirtualBox, like as a VM. And just to have, you know, for older Macs, like it's nice to have, make a library of that, of those. Because, you know, if you get them offline, off third party, you don't know if someone injected something into the kernel or into any other part of it. Like there's so many different things that could be done maliciously if you just download a third party, non-official, like not from Apple or not from Windows or Microsoft or not from like Ubuntu or whatever official Linux distribution you're getting it from. You can definitely you can get hacked, and that's not a good thing. But yeah, so this is as far as this can go. Now for Bluetooth, from what I read, and I did a lot of different reading. I'm going to come back to it at some point when I finally finish this article, which I haven't done. As you can see, it's probably been sitting here for a year. But Bluetooth cannot upgrade, so you can't upgrade Bluetooth versions. If I'm understanding the documentation correctly and what people have written about it, so it's not like an operating system in that way. It's not like firmware in that way either. It's just hard-coded, absolutely hard-coded. But was a little confused about it too, because it just seems like there wasn't really good documentation. And maybe that's because I was reading earlier documentation about the earlier versions of LMP, Link Manager Protocol, and Bluetooth. I don't know. But what it comes down to is how to defend against it, right? Okay, or how to, defend against it. Know if you're protected. Basically, if you have a phone now or any piece of hardware, you're going to be protected because they don't build them like that anymore. They're not. They're smart to this object exchange OBEX issue and how to properly configure OBEX so that V cards cannot be exchanged. I think they just turn it off. I'm pretty sure that's what they did for Apple, and that's why it was successful even in the earlier versions. And just making sure that you have a higher version of LMP. Now I forget exactly, and I should add that to this article. I forget exactly where to find that. It depends on what OS you have, and not all of them show. Okay, Nimue has joined the party. She wants to hang out. Hey Nimue, you're gonna help present. This is my cat Nimue. I have two cats, Ariadne and Nimue. Anyways, but yeah. So let's go to this part of the article now, and I promise I will move away from this soon. So the history of Bluetooth. Like I said, I have this this article that I got from Bluetooth, which you have to sign up basically to get this. They're very cloak and dagger, which I get. I mean, it's a whole security thing. Maybe they're gonna be pissed that I'm showing this. Hopefully not. But I'm not really showing anything that crazy. It's just different versions when they came out. This is public domain. And they were all written by this guy, Martin Woolley, is what it seems like. So I'm guessing he's just the lead for Bluetooth. Maybe he's the CEO. More likely he's like a lead developer or something like that. He could be a CIO, but I doubt that because that's a different role. But yeah, first version here from SIG. Now, like we looked at here, it was introduced. It came out before it was part of this Bluetooth Special Interest Group. It came out in 1998, and Danish King. Yeah, because Bluetooth I think is a Danish name, but that's anyways. Just a little ADHD here. But yeah, so etymology of snarfing. I always think of snarf from oh my god, Thundercats. I wanted to put a picture of snarf in this article, but then I was worried. I looked up on Medium and stuff. I was kind of worried that maybe I could get some type of infringement and suit, and I don't want to deal with that, obviously. But yeah, so and so not only are there different versions of Bluetooth, but there's also these other core, because there's a bunch of different suites, like core specifications for Bluetooth, and that's not to mention all the protocols, like LMP is one of the protocols, and then many other. Obviously, it's a large piece of software, firmware, whatever you want to call it, interactive code that is maintained. It has lots of different moving parts. But yeah, I mean, my conclusion was that there's just not a lot of publicly available information about Bluetooth or the vulnerability. Bluesnarfing for me came up because I have been off and on studying for my Security Plus and just trying to learn more about security threats and how to attack devices, how to defend against attacks. It's something that I am very interested in, and I need to spend more time in. Because if I'm ever going to get a position doing that, right now I just do regular IT, general IT, essentially, kind of like a systems administrator, like a junior systems admin. Anyways, enough about me. But yeah, so that's Bluesnarfing. What I learned about it, and Bluetooth a little bit. It's interesting. Maybe I'll go into this a little bit more at some point too, but not right now. I'm gonna move on to TCP, IP. I'm gonna try to off the cuff a little bit for what I know, and then we'll see how accurate I was about that. So, transmission control protocol is a protocol that was officially created in an RFC, which is a request for comments. I do not know what the number is off of my top of my head. Yeah, officially it is RFC. It'll be TCP/IP because it's transmission control protocol over internet protocol, because that's what it's used for. I'm sure you could use it for something else. I mean, the protocol is SYN. Is it that? Yeah, which is synchronized maybe, and then SYN-ACK, which is synchronized, acknowledged synchronization, and then, oh my god, what is the other one? Wow, this is bad. Anyways, but for TCP/IP, there's this whole discover, offer, review, and then acknowledge. Is that what it is? I can't remember what the R is. But DORA, and that's a DHCP thing. So TCP. Oh no, okay, I'm mixing those two up. DHCP calls, that's DORA. That's discover, offer, review, acknowledge. I can't remember what the R stands for. Separate, but does rely on a TCP connection, I think. Unless it is UDP, user datagram protocol. But yeah, so let's go and find, so IETF, Internet Engineering, so what do they stand for? Whatever, but they handle RFCs. There's also another place with RFCs, but apparently RFC 793 is the TCP protocol. That's 1981. So that's how old TCP is. 1981, and it was prepared for DARPA, which is she uses her claws a lot, which is who commissioned the internet. In the beginning, there's a very interesting book called "Where Wizards Stay Up at Night." Is that Where Wizards Stay Up at Night, or is it late? Late. Where Wizards Stay Up Late. Great book. I'm still reading it, to be honest. I'm a slow reader and I get distracted. But yeah, it's a great read. By Katie Hafner, and there's co-author Matthew Lyon. Look at that. Audiobook is free on Audible. Is that what that is? Yeah, Audible. That's cool. It's a great read. Very interesting information. But anyway, so that's DARPA. And this is who it's by. And I'm sure that the authors are in there. But request for comments officially started maybe in the 60s. Maybe it was the 70s. And it's just a way for people to communicate about standards and sometimes just have discussions officially, unofficially, on what we should do with the internet and other computing things. All kinds of protocols are on there. So if you ever want to read like the official documentation on a protocol, RFCs are a great place to look. It's definitely going to be dense. I myself have not read all the way through one and comprehended it, but it's cool to look at it and see what these big brains say, and maybe one day you can become a big brain. That's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, so this document describes the DoD standard transmission control protocol (TCP). There have been 9 earlier editions of the ARPA TCP. So this isn't even the first one that I'm reading here. Specifications on which this standard is based, and the present text draws heavily from them. There have been many contributors to this work, both in terms of concepts and in terms of text. This edition clarifies several details and removes the end of letter buffer size adjustments and redescribes the letter mechanisms as a push function. So I want to see if there is, they do sometimes have, not really pictures, but yeah, so this kind of stuff here, where they use ASCII to create a kind of chart for you, diagram. Interesting. So it looks like, if I'm reading this right, it rides atop of IP and ICMP, which is for pinging, which Internet Control Message Protocol, maybe? I don't remember what ICMP is, but it's for pings. That's what I know it's for. And then Local Network Protocol, LNP, but that's where it sits atop, and or below, I guess you could say. But it's supported by this infrastructure. I really wish that there was. Okay, so here's some more. This is the TCP header format, and there's the source port, the destination port, sequence number. Don't know what that is. The acknowledgement number. That's the ACK part. And they have checksums to make sure that the data, because TCP is a reliable connection. It's used because they want to make sure that the data is going through. So examples of TCP would be, what is an example? I can think of examples of UDP, like video, like this is UDP. The application layer is where the mistakes get caught, but it's just a constant stream of packets, and sometimes they fail through and all that stuff, because it's real time. You don't want it to, you don't want to wait for an acknowledgement and a connection to fall through and then come back through TCP to have your video streaming. That would, you wouldn't be able to communicate with anybody with Zoom or Teams or Skype or whatever the fuck you're going to use. TCP is for SSH, I believe. SSH. Let's check that. Does SSH use, TCP or UDP? Yeah. Okay, so you could do it over UDP, apparently, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me since you have a secure tunnel, but I guess it's because it's constantly, so it uses both protocols, maybe? Something to dive in at some point. That's interesting. But anyways, yeah, so TCP, let's see if I can find how TCP works. I thought I was going to be able to explain this off the cuff, off the top of my head. Clearly I can't. Let's check out Khan Academy. They always have good stuff here. Look at that. Okay, so that's actually literally the same little breakout we saw on the RFC. Source port number, sequence, offset reserved. This series of letters, window size, the checksum, options padding. Let's see if they break it down in a way that makes sense. Okay, so yeah, you have your SYN, your ACK SYN. I thought it was SYN-ACK. In Wireshark, I'm pretty sure it looks like SYN-ACK, but it doesn't really matter. And then your ACK, so it's synchronization is what I think it means. Then acknowledgement of synchronization, and then acknowledgement of the acknowledgement. That's why they call it a three-way handshake. It goes through ways. And then there's that. Then the connection is open, which I'm pretty sure it's basically two different ports that are, that's why source port and destination port, and they're agreeing that they're going to communicate through those ports. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, synchronize. So the first computer sends a packet with the SYN bit set to 1, synchronize, which I don't know if that's the sequence number. Wherever the SYN bit is, it's not very apparent here. The second computer sends back the ACK acknowledgement, and then the SYN bit. So maybe that's a 1-1. I don't know if this is like 3. It's 4 bytes. So maybe the first 3, or maybe the rightmost are the bits that are used. Then the first computer replies back with an ACK. So let's see. Back through. Once computers are done. Yeah. Anyways, I probably should have looked this up ahead of time, huh, guys? Well, I appreciate that you're bearing with me. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you guys dig this music and you know anybody who's like a filmmaker or whatever, and they want to buy some music for their film, or like they're a rapper or a singer or whatever, they can. I just dropped some stuff in the chat. They can go ahead and buy it there, or request a custom beat. I think it's still playing. Yeah, okay, it's still playing. Cool. Hopefully you can hear me too. I think I have the volume set right in OBS, so it's all good to go. Okay, 10:37. We still got some time here. Anyways, how's everybody's day going? You guys having a nice day? Whoever's here, I don't know who's here. Somebody left too. They didn't like my prattling on. I totally get it. It's very free form. I'm trying to get it more solidified, but at this point, it's not very solidified. Still learning this whole streaming thing. What else did I say I was going to get into today? Yeah, the password generator. But yeah, so clearly I have a lot more to learn about TCP/IP. I should probably just take this this Khan Academy class. It seems like they dive in there pretty good. Okay, yeah, and then this is the other part, the fin, and the ACK fin, and then the ACK, which is just like it's a clean close of the transmission. Should we go over this? Should we dive into this? Maybe not. Let me check if I have Python in here real quick. Oh, okay. I mean, I should. It's a Mac, so they all have Python in them. Of course I do. Cause that's what I wrote this other thing in. Maybe we'll just write it together, rewrite it together. Oh yeah, let's take a look at our virtual machine here. Wow. It's still getting ready. That's not a good look. I think it's because the processing power that it takes to do all this is just pretty heavy. So I'll give it a break for that. Projects. I really need to organize my computer. Let's see, where do I have the password generator? I think it's in here. Password generator. Okay. Open that up. I have a main. And I have the, okay. it's not too long to write, and I can explain why I did what I did here. I don't think I have an ID at all. VS Code. Oh, yeah, I don't have one. Idle. Do I have idle? No, I don't. That sucks. Okay, we'll just use we'll just use text edit to do this. And hope that is acceptable in 40 minutes. All right, so we're gonna convert that to plain text. Save it as okay. I just have to import random, so I find it be that hard. So main password generator.py. We'll put that on the desktop. Save that. And we'll go ahead and start writing this. So first thing I'm going to do is import something that isn't even created yet. Don't worry about it. Now I'm using main because it's good to have like a runner file, a file that runs stuff for you. Now, okay, so why am I declaring b as true? So I'm making a variable. It's a Boolean variable. I'm just naming it b. And while it's true, I want this to run. I basically, like, I was going to add some other functionality, but I just didn't get around to it. And I'm thinking of making a whole, like, walkthrough of this, starting from this part, and then going to making it have more functionality, and then turning it into a graphical user interface. Because I did that with Rote 13, which is a very old cipher. It's like kind of early cryptography. And that was fun. It's on my YouTube channel if you guys want to check it out. But okay, so what am I doing here? So while b equals true, which it's just going to continue to equal true. There's nothing in the code that's going to stop it from equaling true. It's going to keep calling password generator, which I've imported right up here. Make sure I spelled everything right here. Password generator, and then the function method. I don't know what they call it in Python, but I'm calling this on it. Now we haven't made that yet, so now we're gonna go ahead and how do I make a new one? Text edit. All right, I'm just gonna do it like this. Oh, come on. Text. I feel like, come on, isn't it just literally, yeah. There. Okay, I clicked something wrong, clearly. So, we have our main. Great. Now let's go over here and cd into the desktop, and we'll take a look at what's in main password generator, and cool, the code's there. Great. So the next thing to do, I'm copying off of something I did earlier, by the way, much earlier. We're going to import random. This is going to allow us to do random stuff. And actually, someone asked me a great question about this. I have this on my GitHub, and they're like, well, how do you make sure that people can't just snoop the seed? And I did not have a good answer for that. And I was like, I need to get back to you on that. Because obviously, if you're really making something behave as random as possible, which, you know, computers aren't quite there yet. I heard that they are working on making them random. You can get a pattern. You can figure out the pattern, and then you can hack that pattern. And so if you're using that pattern to encrypt stuff, well, you're in trouble. You know, and this is making passwords, right? So that could get you in trouble. So first we'll create alpha, which is going to be the alphabet. It's going to be an array. An array is just a series of values that are all the same kind of value. And I think there's probably a way better way to do this, but I was doing this when I didn't understand Python very well, and off the top of my head, I do not know a better way to do it. So I just literally created this. I could probably do this with either ASCII or maybe some type of regex. I haven't learned how to do that kind of stuff with regex yet. But as you can see, I'm creating the entire alphabet, capital and non-capital letters, and I'm doing it like this to give it this kind of randomness. Well, random. This is how this is what it's going to step through to look at. I feel like I should just copy this, to be honest, because this is going to take much longer than I want it to. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and just go into here and get this guy. Bear with me, folk. As I see, there's just one of you. If that's even a person. No offense if you are a person. If you are a person, I'm just, it's interesting that there's only one person. Not that I would expect more than one person at this point. I just started, and it's kind of all over the place. But anyways, so let's just get rid of that. We're gonna get rid of that. We're gonna go grab this, which I just transferred with the RAID that I built a while ago. Password generator. All right, great. We're gonna put this on the desktop, and we're gonna go ahead and cat password. Oh my god. Okay. Cat password generator. Oops. There we go. Cool. So there's the code. Let's open it up, take a look inside, go over it, and then we'll run it and see what it does. And looks like Windows is finally getting a little further along. So it's not that many lines of code, as you can see, and I'm just going to click through this. So the first part, imports random, like I said. We can put these together. Imports random. Then I create this letters array, then this numbers array, and then this special characters array. And then this part, so definition, password, that's the name here. This is what's being called over here. So we're importing this whole thing, this file. We're importing this file, and then we're iterating over it forever, essentially. While B is true, B is always going to be true because I haven't said anything to change it. There's no contingencies. And then we call password generator, which is from here. This is this, and we call this method or function. I think they're called function for Python. Method is for Java, but it's the same thing. And this is what it does. So it goes, it looks, it starts out by just initializing password as nothing. Then it asks a question. That's what input does. It basically, and it asks a question on the console. Let's see if we can actually get this to work. So Python main password generator. Is it going to work? Okay, it looks like it's working. So what's a length of a password that you guys want me to use? Since no one's chiming in, I'll just listen to Casper, and Casper wants me to do 30 letter password. Okay, wow, that's a pretty long password, and it's pretty crazy. And as you can see, it's being generated, and so I'll show you. It's random, as random as it can be, because if I do it again, 30 length of 30, it's going to give me a completely different password. These are two entirely unique passwords generated, and I'm sure you can see like the way that. Okay, don't care about that. The way that this could be very interesting in the UI, and there's password generators out there. That's all I'm trying to do. It's just for fun. Maybe I'll do something more with it. So we have these arrays. That's where everything's getting generated from. That's the data. Then this is this initial prompt here. So length of password. It's asking a question. Input allows you to do that, and then I put it into this variable called password length, obviously. And then there's this iteration done. So for I, so this number I in the range from 0 to this as an int. I think I had to declare that. Either I did that because I wanted to harden it in case someone gave me something else. Let's even test that out. Why is that not working? Oh, okay. Oh, shouldn't have done anything. So what happens if we just try 5.1? Interesting. So it rounds it, it looks like, right? That's still 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What about 5.5? Same length. That's 5. 5.9. That's still 5. So it truncates it, is what it does. That's what int does. It truncates it. Does not let it be a double. Obviously, you can't iterate with a double. At least, yeah, you can't. And if I try letters, that's going to be interesting. What happens if I do A? It throws an error. It does not like that. Because I didn't design anything to catch for that if there's an error. So obviously that needs to be built into this at some point, but that's a way to break this. Alright, back into the meat and potatoes here. So what it does is for this, it iterates up. First thing it does, and so this part, what is this? This is a for loop, and it's called it's a for each loop. So, and well, I mean, maybe they don't call it that in Python, but it's basically the same thing. So I gets iterated up, starting at 0, I equals 0, all the way to the length of the password. And I think the way this works is just shy of the length of the password. Might have that correct. And then what it does is a seed is created, R calls random, which we imported. This is another program someone made. Rand int is called, that's the function, that's the method on this this module. That's what they're called, modules. That's just another program like this someone wrote. And there's a random number that's created between 1 and 3. So it's either 1, 2, or 3, randomly. And then if R is equal to 1, it goes here. If R is equal, else if R is equal to 2, it goes here. Else if R is equal to 3, it goes here. And so what does it do in each of these? So if it's 1, it creates another random with rand int called R2, random.randint, and so it iterates to a certain extent here. And we're going to do personal use. It iterates from 0 to the length of alpha minus 1, so otherwise it would go out of bounds. I kind of forget why that works there, and this doesn't here for rand. Oh, I think it's because I just didn't care if it went over the limit. No, that's not right. There's a reason why that makes sense. I should have put notes on there about why. Comments. I did not. Anyways, so then it goes, and so if it's that, then it's going to iterate. And something looks a little off here. I feel like okay, yeah, it doesn't iterate. I'm being silly. It picks a random int, and then it goes on its merry way. So how does it pick a random int? It calls the module random, and it calls randint on it between 0 and the length of this minus 1. So it's either going to be A, this is for this first one, R2, A or Z. You know, between those, it's going to be one of those or any of them in between. Randomly, you know, as best random as a computer can do, and then it assigns it the password. So first password is just nothing. So then it plus equals, that means it concatenates that to the wow, what am I saying? To the password. And so what is this doing right here? This is saying alpha, this array, at the index of R2, whatever is randomly selected here. So maybe it's J, lowercase j, and then it gets added to this blank password. So now it's J, that's the first letter. Then it passes all these because it hit if on this, and it starts back up here, and then it iterates then it plus plus, so it becomes, this is now 1. It started at 0, now it's 1. and it's still going up to the password length because we selected 5 as the password length, right? And then it's gonna pick another one here. Let's do a real one so we can see this happening. So 5. So first it actually So first it hits 3, right? Is it 3? No. Okay. First it hits 2. So random number that it gets between 1 and 3 is 2. Comes here. That's the else if statement. It's like, oh no, it's not 1. R is not equal to 1. R is equal to 2. Okay, so we're gonna create an R2 object again, and I think that one of the reasons he asked me about that is because I think there's a way to basically overwrite this so that it has a new seed value, but I'm not sure about that. Offline account goes through between 0 and length of numeric minus 1. Okay, so that's either 0 or 9 or anything in between. And limited experience. Limited experience. Does not want me to click that. Son of a whatever. Okay, well we're getting really close to the end of the hour, so I'm gonna have to stop. But yeah, so it goes through, it does all that, and then what was this part here? Okay, this is a different thing that never gets called. This is a different function. Why do I have 2 functions? There has to be a reason why. Okay, that's why. This was to test it out. Oh, and I think actually I wrote this because once I'm not doing it with input like this, I'm going to have something be passed to it. So this is going to be, why do I call it PD? Is that PD? Looks like it is. No idea why I named it that. Anyways, this is going to be for the UI if I'm not mistaken. Or the graphical user interface, that is. I'm just going to call this guy admin. And there's going to be no password. Oh. Confirm password. Doesn't like it. No password. There we go. But yeah, so that's it. I know it's kind of all over the place. Thank you for sticking by. Hope you have a great day. If you're interested in music and you like what you hear now, feel free to join me on the next stream because that's what I'm going to be doing. All right. Peace.